Every movie that you've ever loved, from Star Wars to The Lion King, from The Wizard of Oz to The Matrix, is actually about the same 5 struggles that every single one of us face in our lives. And here's the wildest part. 2,000 years ago, the ancient yogis of India had already written every single one of those scripts. They called them the kleśas. These are the roots of human suffering. Klesha literally means to afflict. And these afflictions, they aren't abstract ideas. They're the forces that actually shape every choice we make, our relationships in life, and even the way that we see ourselves. And once you understand them, you'll start seeing these kleshas everywhere. Not just in movies, not just on television, but in the story of your own life. And the beauty of yoga is that it doesn't just name these afflictions, it gives us the tools to overcome them. In yoga philosophy, the kleshas are mental afflictions that distort our perception and influence all of the actions that we take in our life, which is really just a complicated way of saying sometimes our mind, it fucks with us. It convinces us to make choices that go against what we actually feel. It keeps us chasing after things that we think that we need or avoiding what we don't like, overthinking, overanalyzing, undermining ourselves, and then judging ourselves for it all. It's almost like our mind has its own mind that we don't control. I'm not trying to date myself here, but it's like that TV sitcom Herman's Head from the early 90s, where every thought had its own personality, or for you younger generation, the movie Inside Out. And it doesn't matter how many self-help books you've read, how many retreats you've attended, or even workshops you've sat through, this is just part of being human. So there are 5 kleshas, 5 inner voices that are constantly trying to deceive us. Avidya, which means wrong knowledge or confusion. Asmita, which is our ego, the false sense of I. Raga, meaning attachment or craving. Dvesha, aversion. Abhinivesha means fear, especially the fear of loss or of death. And these kleshas explain why we repeat mistakes and chase wrong goals or resist change. And if you think about it, every great story is about a character wrestling with these same 5 forces. Because movies are basically yoga philosophy or psychology in disguise. Avidya is when we see the world through a distorted lens. We mistake what's an illusion for what's truth. We think we know something, but in fact we don't. Think of the Matrix of Neo. He lives in this dream world believing it's real until one day he wakes up. Or The Truman Show, where Truman slowly realizes the world around him is nothing more than a movie set. Both stories reveal how ignorance keeps us trapped in this false version of reality. And yoga says our biggest problem isn't what's happening outside of us, it's how clouded our perception is inside. The first step of practice is waking up. It's realizing this illusion isn't real and that everything is in constant change and flux. Life, people, circumstances. But avidya, it can only keep us in the fog when we live like things will stay the same forever. So what should you do? Appreciate what's here. Don't take things for granted. Be humble. That's how we dissolve avidya. Asmita is when we confuse who we are with what we do. We start to believe that we are our job, our achievement, our image. Think Iron Man, Tony Stark. He hides behind this armor, literally and emotionally. Or Uncle Rico and Napoleon Dynamite, still clinging to his high school glory days as quarterback. Both stories remind us how ego limits ourselves. But this next point is really important, and I see misunderstood all the time. The ego isn't bad or malicious. It's just loud. It wants control. It wants recognition. It wants safety. And that's fine until we lose that role that defines us. Let me give you an example. As a career yoga teacher, there are all of these unspoken pressures or expectations. You should be spiritual. You should be calm. You should meditate. You should practice every day. I struggled for such a long time because I didn't always want to be that person. The truth is, my interests change. My passions change. And my relationship to yoga has changed, especially when it became my career. That tension that I feel, that's coming from asmita. Have you experienced that before? Those expectations? I'd imagine. Yoga doesn't tell us to destroy the ego. just to see through it so that we can come to recognize that we're much more than the roles that we play. Raga is the feeling of grasping, the energy of attachment, the if only voice in our head. If only I had that job, if only I had that house, if only I had that car, that relationship, then I'd be happy. In The Great Gatsby, it's his obsession with Daisy, or Peter Pan, clinging to childhood and avoiding adulthood. We chase what we think will bring us happiness. But yoga reminds us that joy doesn't come from holding on. It comes from letting go. Every story about love, success, obsession, it's secretly about raga, about this attachment. And in many ways, the practice of yoga becomes the art of learning to release our grip. Devesha, it's the flip side of raga. It's not what we chase, it's what we run from. Luke Skywalker runs from his darkness. We all do, pushing away what hurts. But yoga says the more we resist, the more power we give to it. And the only way through the pain is to meet it, not avoid it. Every great character transformation happens at that moment, the moment they stop running. There's a story of a man who was terrified of his own shadow. He runs to escape it, but no matter how fast he goes, it's still behind him. He dies eventually of exhaustion trying to get away. The moral is we can't escape what we're avoiding. And simply by stepping into the shade, the shadow, it disappears. Abhinivesha is our deepest fear, the fear of loss or death. Simba in The Lion King, he runs from his past and the death of his father, or Jaws, the fear of what's unseen, what lives beneath the surface. This kleśas shows up every time we try to control the uncontrollable. But yoga says the more we fear the end, the less we experience the beauty of what's here and now. When we learn to let go of fear, of control, even of a life itself, what's left is freedom. These 5 kleśas, ignorance, ego, attachment, aversion, and fear, are the script behind every story ever told. Because every story is really about waking up from illusion, waking up from the ego, from fear, and remembering who we are beneath all of it. That's the same journey yoga invites us into. The movie of your life is already unfolding. The question is, who's writing your script? The kleśas or you? The truth is, we all live somewhere between these 5 struggles. Some days we're lost in illusion, thinking our worth comes from what we achieve. Other days we're caught in craving or fear, holding on, pushing away, hiding behind the stories we tell ourselves. And that's okay, because recognizing the pattern, this is the beginning of the practice. Yoga doesn't promise a life without struggle. It gives us the awareness to see struggle for what it is, something temporary. And that's what makes this philosophy timeless. It's not about escaping life. It's about living it fully. So the next time that you're watching a movie, notice which kleśas is driving the story, who's wrestling with the ego or craving or fear, and then ask yourself, where is that story playing out in your own life? Because that's the beauty of yoga. It's not just about something we do on a yoga mat. It's a mirror for the human experience, a practice for seeing a little more clearly, for acting a little more wisely, and living more free. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Quick pause. The idea for this video came from a lecture I gave at Trilogy Sanctuary in La Jolla, California, to a group of yoga teacher trainees. But here's why that matters. You don't have to be a teacher or even a yoga practitioner to understand all of this. These teachings are universal, and that's what this channel is about making timeless wisdom practical